Persuasive Speech, and there's my audience. Merriam-Webster.com defines physician-assisted suicide, otherwise known as euthanasia, as suicide by a patient facilitated by means or information as a drug prescription or indication of the lethal dosage provided by a physician who is aware of how the patient intends to use such means or information. As of today, there are 4 states in America, Oregon, Montana, Washington, and Vermont, which has legalized physician-assisted suicide. 3 of these states require the patients to have 6 or months less to live in order to request assisted suicide. The Netherlands is one of the few countries that have legalized euthanasia, and Dutch doctors have been performing physician-assisted suicide, quote, since 1984 when a seminal court case laid down the standards by which this could be done. While physician-assisted suicide may be legal in those areas, it does not make it right. Physician-assisted suicide is not right and should become illegal everywhere because the patient may not be in the right state of mind when making the decision to die. Assisted suicide may be premature and death may often be avoided with proper medical care. And the more a physician helps patients die, the less sensitive they are going to become towards the act. While physician-assisted suicide can help relieve people who are in pain, many of the people who request to die by physicians are usually not in the right state of mind when making the decision. Lawrence J. Schneiderman, M.D., states in his book, Embracing Our Mortality, studies show that patients, as they contend with shifting medical circumstances, make treatment choices that seem rationally inconsistent, even contradictory. And as time passes and the disease progresses, they sometimes change their minds. This means that patients may make the hasty decision to end their life when they have a fighting chance. Also, according to Minnesota Citizens Concernforlife.org, a study performed in the Netherlands has shown that most of the requests to end life by means of physician-assisted suicide were from patients who had mental illnesses, not from patients who were suffering from pain. What that means is that people could very well take advantage of physician-assisted suicide. If physician-assisted suicide were to become legal in the United States, the doctors would have to become extremely wary. Patients could easily say they want to die, and the physicians would have to do so. This could turn disastrous for every party involved. Often, people who request to die via physician-assisted suicide feel like death is their only option and their way to escape a painful death, but in reality, they may be making a hasty decision. Some patients with cancer or other forms of sicknesses may find themselves feeling hopeless. They may feel as though they have no other option and do not want to suffer a painful death. This may lead them to believe they have to kill themselves in order to not go through a painful death. Jeanette Hall from King City, Oregon is a testament of premature action by assisted suicide. In a letter, she wrote, in 2000, I was diagnosed with cancer and told that I had 6 months to a year to live. I knew that our loss had passed, but I did not know exactly how to go about it. I did not want to suffer, and I did not want to do radiation. I wanted Stevens to help me, but he did not really answer me. Instead, my doctor encouraged me not to give up, and ultimately I decided to fight the cancer. I had both chemotherapy and radiation. I am so happy to be alive. It is now 12 years later. If Stephen had believed in assisted suicide, I would be dead. I thank him and all my doctors for helping me choose life with dignity. If physician-assisted suicide was made legal, people, just like Jeanette Hall, may think that since it is allowed, they will want to partake in it simply because they do not want to go through possible pain. Modern medicine has allowed doctors to save millions of lives and lessen their patients' pain during their journey of getting better. Legalizing physician-assisted suicide would mean that people could be ending their lives short, not allowing for them to continue on with their lives, creating new and exciting memories. Jeanette Hall's stories leads us into the next reason why physician-assisted suicide is not right. The more often assisted suicide happens, the less sensitive doctors and patients alike will become to the idea. Jeanette Hall thought that since she was diagnosed with cancer and did not want to suffer, she could simply end her life since it was legal in the state she lived in. This shows how people may take this law very lightly. In William H. Colby's book Unplugged, the American Medical Association stated in a case involving physician-assisted suicide, quote, through these means, patients can avoid entrapment in a prolonged, painful, or over-medicalized dying process. However, the power to assist in intentionally taking the life of a patient is antithetical to the central mission of healing that guides both medicine and nursing. It is a power that most healthcare professionals do not want and could not control. The power that the AMA is talking about is a power that can get out of hand. For example, in the Netherlands, where euthanasia has been legal for some time, about 3 patients die per day from a physician-assisted suicide without their own consent. This shows how assisted suicide has become something that doctors do without a second thought. In Dr. Leon Cass's book Life, Liberty, and Defensive Dignity, Dr. Cass portrays how once legalized, physician-assisted suicide can become more and more common, stating that in the Netherlands, 5% of all deaths are from doctors. 59% of Dutch doctors said that they do not report when they perform euthanasia on a patient, and 25% acknowledge that they ended a patient's life without the patient's consensus. If these statistics were to hold true in the United States, people could easily die and they would not think anything else about it. These studies have shown that doctors have become less sensitive to the killing people on a regular basis. Physician-assisted suicide has become an everyday thing in these areas where it has been legalized, and doctors are now taking it more lightly. Euthanasia on patients should not be legalized for that reason. Physician-assisted suicide is not right and should become illegal everywhere because the patients may not be in the right state of mind when making the decision. Assisted suicide may be premature and death may often be avoided with proper medical care. And the more a physician helps let patients die, the less sensitive they are going to become towards the act. And this is my graph. And this table is showing the reasons why people want to choose physician-assisted suicide. As you can see, there are more reasons why people want to choose physician-assisted suicide than just suffering physically. If legalized, people would want to die for these reasons and more. And there's my audience again.